May 4th, Pluto stations retrograde at 8:27 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time at 3 degrees Aquarius, 49 minutes. Now, when a planet stations, that just simply means it's stopping up in the sky as far as our viewpoint goes, and is turning around, and retrograde is going backwards. And remember, our rule of thumb is the slower the planet, the more power it's got. So when it's stopped up there, it is powerful. And Pluto's already our slowest planet in general. So what are you going to do, right? Now, Pluto's not going to go direct again until April 13th. So in like that 5-6 months, it's only going to move like 2 degrees down to 1 degree. So just be aware, Pluto is just sitting there at like 3 to 1 degrees for the next 5 months. Okay, now tomorrow, I'm hoping to get this published on the 25th. So tomorrow on the 26th is when Mars opposes Pluto. Mars in Leo, Pluto in Aquarius. And, you know, this is very profound because Pluto is stopped up there. And this is the 3rd time that Mars has opposed Pluto. Now, this is doing this right on the eve of the new moon on the 27th. So it's still part of that new moon configuration because that new moon is coming in at 7-8 degrees Taurus, fixed Earth. So that's going to make a T-square with the outlet point, fixed water, Scorpio. Okay, so that's going to be pretty exciting, that's for sure. Now, I did go into a lot of detail about this last week, but it's so important I figured I'd review it a little bit more. So if you're in that first 10 degrees of a fixed sign, watch out, pay attention. Now, the other big transit I want to point out is Venus. Now, today on the 25th, she's probably feeling a little bedraggled because yesterday on the 24th, she conjuncted Saturn, our big, cosmic cop. So she's been given all of her rules and structure and all that kind of stuff. And in Pisces, she's probably a little bit like, oh, really? I don't even want to hear about that, but she does listen. But on April 30th, she is going to blast into Aries. Now, what happens when a planet changes signs? What's the first thing we think of? What are they going to do with Neptune? So Neptune is right there. So it's going to take her a bit to kind of get rid of all that woo-woo. Because remember, Neptune's the ruler of Pisces. And then, remember Pluto at 4 degrees. She'll be sextiling that on May 6th. So big excitement coming on. So, okay, everybody, hopefully I'll see you in the expanded version. Bye! Mom. Welcome back to the Magical Mystery School and the extended version of Pluto Stations Retrograde, April 2025. Or May. Sorry, May 2025. So, how's everybody doing out there? It is intense times, is it not? I mean, Pluto is literally going to be at, 330 Aquarius to 349 all the month of April and all the month of May. So it's not going anywhere. So really, if you've got something in those first 10 degrees of fixed, pay attention. Okay, so it's going to go, well, let's talk about current events. Okay, so the Pope died, and that's very sad. I'm not much of a Pope person. I don't keep up with what's going on with that, but he seemed like a really good Pope, and I think it was really interesting that he waited till Easter. I think with that Neptune, our most spiritual planet, going into Aries, starting a whole new chapter, basically, I think it was probably the Pope's time to exit stage left, And, but it was interesting waiting till Easter because I can just see, if you're a Pope, he probably wanted to go up with Jesus. So that was a good deal for him. Well, anyway, that Sunday night, now this was all sort of the beginning of this. We've got this big Mars-Pluto opposition coming up this Saturday night, the 26th. I'm going to try to publish this on the 25th. The sun is squaring, on Sunday night of Easter. That was the beginning of this whole Mars-Pluto opposition that we got coming up here. First off, the sun squared Mars that night. And the sun, wherever it goes, it illuminates, right? It brings light to the subject. And that was the night that there was a big leak. In the U.S., our Secretary of Defense, used to be the Secretary of War many years ago, back during the Great One, World War II. He got top secret military plans that he got through his secured phone and all that kind of stuff for his job. And then he took his own private phone, put that top secret information on it, and sent it to people on a public app. What? Anyway, if you're watching this channel, you're definitely smart enough to know that doesn't work. Anyway, so let's just go ahead. I'm going to put you on pause, and we'll look at the wheel, and we'll see everything else that's going on. But that was the biggest I saw for seeing how astrology works in hindsight. Okay. Okay, here's our wheel. Okay, so as we've been discussing, we do have Pluto up here at 4 degrees Aquarius, so pretty much on that cusp. 347 that they're going to oppose each other Saturday night. So, and Mars is right down here in Leo, again, right at the beginning of the sign. They're opposing one another. And remember when we talked about them last time, we did point out their tarot card. So here's Pluto, and I think this is the best way to do the focus. Oops. I think if I can get it, and it loves faces, so if it can stay focused on that face, I think it'll be good. Okay, so here we go. Gabriel, the archangel, is blowing his horn and waking everybody up from their 3D coffins. And Pluto also represents what's inevitable. It doesn't matter where you are on the ascension list or whatever. It's going to happen one way or the other. Huh. Okay, let me try it again. Okay. All right, so I'll just keep talking not to bore you guys while we're fooling around with this focus. Okay, so that flag with the red cross in it, the magic number for Mars is 5. So 5 times 5, 25 is the magic cube for Mars, and that's what this is. This is a 5 by 5 cube symbol with that red cross in the center. So everyone's happy to be, evolving and going up into the next level. All right, so I'm going to put this card right here so we can just kind of keep an eye on it, keep it in our consciousness here. And of course, Mars is our tarot card, our tower card, right? So we've got all of our ego type mental towers that we've been building over a lifetime is getting exploded. The king is getting his crown taken off. Now, the main thing to notice is that these foundations, we can think about them as being kind of weak or old, and that's part of why this lightning bolt is coming in to knock our crown off. And notice, this would look a lot like the Mars symbol if it had a circle on the end. Okay, so I'm going to put the tarot card right here, or the tower card right here next to Mars. So, and then, let's see. Oh, and a couple of things I wanted to mention that I forgot last time is that Pluto and Mars are, Pluto is actually the higher octave of Mars. Now, what does that mean? It means that they have very similar energy. It's just that Pluto is at a higher vibration, okay? Like I said, we're messing around with our 3D stuff, our ego and that kind of stuff, getting our crown knocked off. Here, we have no choice. We hear Gabriel's horn and we go. Okay? Because there's sort of a difference there. Now, the other thing that's interesting about these two is that they're basically co-rulers to Scorpio. So Mars is the ancient ruler of Scorpio, but once Pluto was discovered, they decided to make Pluto the ruler of Scorpio. So, and you know, Mars is also the ruler of Aries, so now it just rules Aries. So, so that's another thing that these two have that's making this opposition even more powerful. Okay, so we've got that they're octaves, they're both co-rulers. Pluto itself is stationed, so it's stopped up there, and this is the third hit. Remember way back November 3rd, Mars and Pluto opposed each other, but that was when Mars was in Cancer. Now it's made it into Leo. It's been retrograde. So in the retrograde hit, it was Leo, Aquarius, and now this third hit. So so this really is going to be quite the confusing time, shall we say. Okay, now my camera is doing something very weird right now. So I'll have to look back. This is at what? Almost 8 minutes. I'm going to write that down in case I have to redo this. Okay, weird. Okay, but I'm just going to persevere at this point. Okay, so some things I also wanted to mention about the, outer planets going retrograde. I'm going to put you on pause because my camera's doing some very strange things. Okay, I apologize for that, but the camera's kind of going, it was kind of like my screen was vibrating. Anyway, okay. Okay, with these outer planets that go retrograde, and when I say outer planets, I'm talking about Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. Now, with all three of these, you need to be, just remember when they are retrograde, that's not, to me personally, that's not quite that big a deal, because all three of these, when they do go retrograde, it's about 5 or 6 months out of the year. So, you know, again, retrogrades are time when we integrate energy, you know, we're a little bit calmer with it and quiet, but it's still pretty, it's just pretty a normal state for us. But the station points that we're talking about today are super important, okay? Because again, that's when that planet stops and really, okay, my camera's doing it again. I just hope this, I tell you what, I'm going to put you on pause and just make sure this is recording okay. Okay, yes, those wiggly things were being recorded. So anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just power through this session, and if I get any more of those wigglies, I might put you on pause while they disperse, because it seems like they just last for a few seconds at all. So anyway, so I'm going to keep going here. All right, so Pluto, like I said, the station point is super important. Find out where those are and see if it's hitting anything in your chart. Now, there's two more things I want to mention, though, about these outer planets going retrograde. First off, you can get 5 hits from Pluto and Neptune. I'm not sure about Uranus. I'll have to research that. But I can tell you from, like, for example, right now, I am going to get 5 squares from Pluto to my personal Mars. So, yee-hoo. Okay, so what's happening there? Okay, so let's just say you've got a planet at 2 degrees Aquarius, or no, let's say you've got a planet at, or 3 degrees Aquarius, all right? So Pluto is coming along, going direct, and here it is, it's going to go forward, then it's going to go retrograde right on top. I mean, literally, if you're like at 3 degrees, it's, you know, sitting right on there. Okay, so it's going to go 1, 2. And it's going to go back, and then in October it's going to go forward again, so that's 3. Then it's going to go out here, then it's going to go retrograde again and come back and hit you for 2 more times. Okay, so just be aware that can happen. I know when I first started studying astrology, I'll never forget where it was like, I thought, oh yeah, I've had my 3 hits from Neptune or Pluto or whatever, and I'm like, I'll be clear next year. And then I started looking at the calendar, you know, back in those days, looking at the calendar going, oh no, 5. All right, so that was quite a learning thing for me personally. Okay, and And then the other thing that can be kind of sneaky, let's say you've got your sun at like 4 degrees Aquarius. Remember, it goes retrograde at 347. So Pluto can get up here and just barely touch. It doesn't even touch Pluto. Doesn't even get up, just gets into waving distance, not even kissing distance, right? But it's almost there. Because again, when I was first studying astrology, I remember thinking, oh, I'm not getting any, I don't have to worry about, any Pluto transits or anything. And then I would look closer and it's like, oh no, because the computer would only tell me when it was exact. So you can have these transits where if the planet gets almost up to your natal planet, the transiting planet, but backs away, but that's close enough, and you should know about that and be aware of it. So just, look at, if you do get your transits via the computer, just, look and make sure a little bit more. So that's another, so those are 2 sneaky hits that can happen with these slow outer planets there. Oh, and another thing I wanted to do to show you that importance, I wanted to show you this again. I showed you this once before, but it's a pretty cool graphic just showing all the station points, the motion of the planets through, this is just 2025. So, up here's Pluto, boo, 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 going. So we're right on this line right now, getting ready to turn around and go backwards for a while and then forward. So this is just its motion in 2026. There you can see Neptune and Saturn are going to be going over that 0 Aries point. Venus already, she's still in Pisces, but she's getting ready to move off, and she won't go retrograde for 18 months. Mercury went over that 0 Aries point too, and it does its 3 retros. Then here's our Mars, okay, so there you can see how it opposed Pluto. This will be its 3rd time, then off it goes. It won't go retrograde for 2 years. And then Uranus up here goes right into Gemini, just a teeny bit back. But that's that wobble for me. That's that, it's doing its retrograde thing. All these planets do that, but it's going back and forth between signs. And that's what and it's just so every planet, and to have all these major old outer planets doing it is quite the thing, that's for sure. Okay. Let's see. I wanted to show you that. Okay, so I think, almost forgot. And then the new moon is at like 7-8 degrees Taurus. So again, very, very soon, or early Taurus. And it's going to be, I think it's on the April, let's see, what is it? It's April 20th that the sun squares Mars. Then on the 23rd is when it's going to square Pluto. And again, I think this is really obvious, that T-square that it's making. So there you can see right there when I put my square down, at the beginning of all these fixed signs, you can see that's where those angles are. So I didn't show you that one last time either. This is a big, complicated transit. And let me just, since I made this, I'll show this to you one last time. Or if you're new, you can see here's our November 3rd when Mars opposed Pluto for the first time when it was in Cancer and Capricorn. The 3rd time, January 3rd. And this last time, April 26th. And this shows all of its direct and retrogrades and when it entered Leo and things like that. So if you want to take a screenshot of that, this will probably be our last chance at this one. Yes, okay. All righty. So now the next aspect I want to talk about is Venus. And I forgot to mention, these are all, so the sun does this building up to this opposition on the 26th, but when the moon comes in the morning of the 26th to make this new moon, it's going to square Mars and square Pluto just hours before that new moon goes into effect on the 27th. So just keep that in mind too, that's gonna, the 27th should be a pretty interesting, exciting day for sure. Okay, and this is the whole weekend. This whole week and next week. Okay. Anyway, all right. So we've got Venus, and up here we've got Saturn up in Pisces also, and he's just kind of hanging out here about 27 degrees, somewhere in there. And remember, we've got the North Node also going. Now, remember, the nodes go this way because they're just a point in space. I call it like a shadow of the moon. So it's going to be going that way, but Saturn's going to continue this way and eventually be going over that 0 Aries point. So, and just next month in May, I believe. So Venus is coming along, and you know, she's, like I said, on the 24th, she's going to conjunct Saturn, but all three of these are going to be together here for this week. So really, you know, to me, this is unconditional love, figures out its strategy and that kind of thing for the future. So let's just hope that we get some really structured, good form ideas about how we use our money, our love, all that kind of stuff, and how we can go forward in the future. That would be really cool. All right. So, and I think I already mentioned the Pope passing away, and you know, and this is all, you know, after his passing. I think he actually passed on the day that Saturn conjunct the North Node, and you know, just think about Venus has really been a maturing process, a spiritual maturing process. Remember, she's exalted in Pisces. Okay, then on April 30th. She goes right into Aries. Okay, so we'll put her right down here on the cusp. Okay. And she may not quite get her feeling because, you know, she may not be totally ready to put her red mini skirt on, because when a planet changes signs, what's the first thing we think about? Neptune. Okay, so Neptune is right there at like 1 degree Aries. So she's going to run right into Aries first thing. So that's a pretty, you know, she'll still be feeling very spiritual. You know, she's still going to have her gossamer on. Let's put it that way. And then by May 6th, okay, so Neptune's our first one. So what's the second thing we always think about? Pop quiz. Pluto, because he's right there at 4 degrees. So that Aries fire, Aquarius air, so that's air fire, that's going to be a sextile. So on May 6th, Pluto or Venus sextiles Pluto. So she's going to be feeling pretty good. You know, I kind of see this. Oh, and don't forget, on the 4th is when Pluto goes retrograde. So we got a little series here of Venus energy, Pluto going retrograde. That makes me really wonder if, like, by May 2nd, definitely by May 6th, I wonder if we'll have a new Pope. Should be pretty interesting. So anyway, and I hope also you're noticing too, these planets are, you know, Mars is going from water to fire. Pluto already went from earth to air. Neptune went from water to fire. So soon Saturn will be. And so I hope you're seeing how this is kind of shifting. This energy, the background energy is shifting. Okay, so I think the camera didn't do anything anymore, so I'm just gonna say good night for now, and hopefully everything will be okay. I don't know what happened. Anyway, bye you guys. Thank you very much. And just remember, from there to here, from here to there, funny things are everywhere. Bye.